We're having Grandma Rose's open pantry in Texas. Good morning, Grandmama, and good morning, Corey.
Good morning. And y'all know we've been out in Texas for, what, 8 days now? 8 days. We're leaving tomorrow, and we're at Corey's house. And as y'all know, he is a firefighter and paramedic in downtown Dallas. So he cooks at the fire department some. So he is going to make us a dish today. It's called Firehouse beef and dumplings. And we've never had beef with dumplings before. We've always done chicken and dumplings, but we're gonna have it today. And so Corey is gonna get started with our beef. I'm gonna be his sous chef today, and I'm just gonna be chopping some celery, some onions, some carrots. That's going in our stock for our dumplings. So Roy's gonna go around to where Corey is, and Corey's gonna show you what he's gonna be doing with his beef while I am prepping the veggies.
So,
right.
Corey?
Is this fine, Corey, or you want it smaller?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So normally I make chicken and dumplings, but I've been wanting to try making beef dumplings. We just had some of the stew meat left, and Grandma and Granddaddy are leaving tomorrow, so I just wanted to try to see if we could make some beef and dumplings and see how it would turn out. But the stew meat is what we're using. It's just regular stew meat, which is like a mix of different roasts they cut up. It's a little bit tougher than chicken, obviously. So this is gonna be cooking a little bit longer. So it's gonna be a little bit different in the way I make my chicken and dumplings. Normally I use whole chickens and boil them to make my stock. We're gonna make a stock for this beef and dumplings with this stew meat, and we're gonna use some bone broth to add some extra heartiness to it. So the first thing I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna sear this stew meat in the pot and kind of get a fond in the bottom of the pot, and then we'll deglaze it and we'll start making our stock from there. So I'm just gonna add this, all this beef to this stock pot, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil just so it doesn't stick too bad. Not too much, because it has some fat in it as well. Then we'll just put that on high, and we'll get that seared up.
Coming, Corey.
It's good. This is not going to get seared real hard, but that's okay because we're going to put it all back into the stock anyway. So it's
okay.
Really want this to get tender and fall apart. But we're just starting the base for the stock, so all this juice is coming out. It's going to be part of that base. We really don't need to season at this point because we're going to be seasoning our stock. That's where most of the flavor is going to come from. So there's no point in seasoning the meat right now. So
Okay. Grandma, you're prettier on camera than Corey is.
I don't think so. All right, y'all. I've got our celery. I just got it sliced up like this because it's going in the stock, and it's just going to cook all the pieces anyway. And our carrots. So we're doing celery, carrots, and onion. And I'm just slicing my onion in chunks like this. And Corey puts a lot of veggies in his stock. And that's what makes it really rich and good. So, all right, that's all the onions. So I'm just gonna leave all this right here until we get ready to use it. Corey's cooking his meat, so we'll be back in just a few minutes.
You talk about two cooks in the kitchen. Looking yonder. Grandma Rose and Corey. Okay, here it comes.
I'm listening to you, Charlotte.
all right, so now we're getting a good browning on there. And that's all we really want to get a little bit of that browning reaction going in the pan. We can turn this down now, and we're going to add our stock to it.
Okay.
This is bone broth specifically. We got the bone broth rather than just regular stock because we wanted that extra richness from the bone. Normally I would use bones in the recipe, but they didn't have any in the store, so we're gonna try this instead.
Yeah, we looked for some oxtail or something with a bone in it to create this broth, but just wasn't any in the butcher shop this morning.
Sometimes you gotta use what you got.
You use what you got, that's right. That's what I tell them all the time, Corey, use what you got. All right, I've got granulated garlic, coarse black pepper. Doesn't take as much of this as it does your fine ground black pepper. And just regular salt.
Okay.
We'll just simmer this beef for a while. It's not, we just tried a little bit of it, and it's not as tough as I thought it was gonna be, so it won't take as much time to cook as I thought it was going to. So
Okay.
We'll add our vegetables next, but we'll give this a little bit of time to soften up.
Okay, all right.
We're just
Is it veggie time, Corey?
It is. So I was thinking about it. I mentioned earlier we're using beef instead of chicken, and we don't want the vegetables to fall apart in the mush because the beef might take longer to cook than the chicken would. So what we're going to do though is we're going to cook it. We're going to go ahead and add. I want to infuse the flavor of the vegetables into the stock, so we're going to go ahead and add the vegetables, but we're going to keep it on low and let it simmer for a longer amount of time rather than trying to time it with adding the vegetables later and getting them soft without overcooking them.
Okay.
So we're just going to cook it on low. So this is the point where we're going to add our vegetables to our stock, which still has our beef in there. We'll take that out later, but we're gonna add our vegetables, and that's when we'll season it as well. So.
Okay.
How much carrots is this, Grandma?
That was about about a half a pound of carrots.
About a half pound of carrots.
I'm on there. There's a few.
Oh, we can add that. Too.
Yeah, that onions that were already cut up.
That was just some leftover onions we had cut up, so we're just gonna add that so we can. So don't go bad.
And that was 2.5 medium.
We rough chop the onions because once again we don't want it to just disappear in the dish. We want it to know that they're there. So just kind of rough chop the onions so that they're nice and real small. And at this point it doesn't look like a lot of stock, but these vegetables have a lot of water in them. So we'll add it to the stock, and then if we need to add more water later we can. With our celery, we leave the leaves because there's a lot of flavor in the leaves, and this is going to be cooked, so you won't even notice these once these is cooked, but it does add a lot of flavor.
That's about 5 or 6 stalks of celery.
About 5 or 6 stalks.
Well, it's beginning to look good in the pan.
Mix that up a little bit. We probably will have to add some water later, but we'll wait later to see how much volume we have. So at this point, we're just trying to get all these flavors infused into the stock. And we'll go ahead and season it as well.
Okay.
The bone broth we used didn't have much salt in it, just whatever naturally occurs in the beef. So we're gonna add a good amount of salt, but not too much because we have another ingredient we're gonna add later that has salt in it, so. This is
Now,
kind
how much is that? A teaspoon, 2 teaspoons
of salt,
Yeah.
probably more than that, but
Oh, okay.
that's kind of to taste. So if you like something with more salt, then
Right, yeah.
add more. If not, you don't. Now pepper is really important.
Okay.
And then, so you can use either fresh garlic or you can use granulated garlic. Not a lot because garlic can really dominate the flavor of the dish. So we want most of the flavor to come from like the celery and the carrots and the beef. So
This recipe will be in the description box though, so we will definitely tell you how much of each thing that we use.
And I'll try this again later to check the flavor, see if it needs more of anything. So just kind of eyeballing it. So we're mixing this around. We're gonna let this just cook on low for probably about an hour, and then we'll check on it.
Okay. All right, we will be back. All right, how's it going?
It's good. We got the stock is just about ready.
You wanna come over here,
We've
baby?
simmered these vegetables and beef for over an hour.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice and soft, but it's not falling apart. So we're taking all the vegetables out just so we just have our stock here because we're gonna cook our dumplings in that stock, and then we'll add the vegetables and meat back. But I don't want this stuff to overcook while we're cooking our dumplings. So this is not enough stock, so we're gonna add some water, and we're gonna add one more ingredient just to get enough stock to cook those dumplings. So.
Now, this is not rolled out, this dumplings, this is gonna be drop dumplings, right, Corey?
Right,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
basically just the way I do it is just make biscuit dough
Yeah,
and then use that as my dumpling. But there's a couple of different modifications we're gonna do. But
okay. Now, this is gluten-free,
yeah, we're making gluten-free
because
dumplings.
Corey is totally gluten-free, so they'll be gluten-free dumplings.
In fact, that's the big reason we wanted him to make dumplings
Yes.
today is because a lot of people have problems
And
making
with the beef, yeah.
gluten-free.
I've seen ham dumplings and I've seen the chicken, but I've never seen beef dumplings. So, and I'm telling you, I've tasted the vegetables and the stock, and it is so good. We're gonna have to bring this stock up to a boil because from what Corey said, you have to put these dumplings into really boiling water.
Okay, so y'all want to just pause here for a few minutes?
Yeah, one more thing though, the with the gluten-free biscuits, I mean, because you don't have the gluten in it,
Right.
they will fall apart if, like she was saying, if the water's not boiling. So
So that's a key
stop.
point.
It
So,
has
yeah.
to be a rolling boil.
You need a rolling boil so that the dumplings immediately start to cook and they won't fall apart just because you don't have that gluten in there to hold them together.
It seals them.
Right, and these veggies and the meat has been cooking on just a low.
Yeah,
Just
on mine,
a low.
It's 2 out of 10. So
Yeah, he's
just
been
real low.
cooking them on number 2. So
Okay.
all right.
All right, Grandma.
okay, Corey's fixing to make our gluten-free dumplings. It's basically like he said, biscuit mix, and we're using the powdered buttermilk. We didn't have just regular buttermilk, so we're just using it's called cultured buttermilk blend. So
Let's just mix that with some regular milk and basically made some buttermilk. There's about
Yeah.
2 cups here.
yep.
So I'm not gonna really measure too much. I just kind of eyeball it, but we'll have the measurements, the exact measurements, and
He cooks like I do.
yeah. I
Little of this,
Cook by
a little
feel.
of that. Yeah, cook.
we
by-
already measured the
cook by
flour though.
feel.
I'm gonna do
All right,
about
this
3.
is Bob's.
Red milk, 1 for 1.
Okay.
We're gonna do 3 cups of flour, just so I can have an idea of how much we're making here.
Okay, 3 cups of Bob's red meal, 1 for 1 baking flour. And we've got our broth on high.
The broth we're bringing it up to heat right now
Yeah.
because, like we were saying earlier, it has to be hot. Make sure these dumplings cook without falling apart. All right, so that's about 3 cups of flour.
Okay.
We're gonna put the dry ingredients in first. So I use baking powder, baking soda, both salt. Those are gonna be our dry ingredients. Sometimes I put a little sugar, but in this recipe I'm not gonna put any sugar.
You don't
Yeah.
have to. You not just.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how much to put. I just normally just sprinkle it.
Yep.
Grandmama's recording it in her brain.
I am.
The baking soda just helps it rise a little bit, make it a little more fluffy.
Do you use as much baking soda as you do powder? About the same amount?
About the same amount.
Okay, all right. And how about salt? About the same amount?
Salt's about the same.
Okay, all right.
Probably a couple teaspoons.
With gluten-free flour, it has no leveling agent in it, has no salt. So if you don't put salt in it, it is bland.
Right, the salt, the baking powder, and
Yeah.
the baking soda are gonna help kind
Yeah.
of rise.
I'll get you a spoon.
Now, if I was making biscuits, we would use cold butter, real cold butter. That's really important to have the butter cold, and we just like kind of either grate it up or chop it into small pieces, and then you have to work it into your dough to get your biscuits to rise and be nice and fluffy and like flaky. But with these, we actually want them a little more dense because we don't want them to fall apart when we're boiling them. So we're using melted butter, which is going to help. I mean, they're not going to be flaky like biscuits; they're going to be dense like dumplings. So just
Okay.
kind of rough mix the dry ingredients, and then kind of make a little well in the middle, and then we'll add our wet ingredients.
Corey's teaching
Butter.
me today. I've never done this. So not with gluten-free. Okay.
And then our buttermilk.
All right.
And then for the 3 cups of flour, we're just going to use 3 eggs. It's going to help it hold together a little bit better.
Because egg is a binder.
The protein in the egg helps
Yep.
bind it together.
Okay. I hear our broth coming up to a boil over here. Now remember, we said earlier, it has to be a rolling boil or they will come apart. So,
We're going to give this a little bit of mix, but then we're going to knead it by hand and get it
here's it.
real mixed up.
You need it, baby. If you make up too much of this dough, could you freeze it, Corey, you think?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't either.
They got frozen biscuits in the grocery store. So
Yeah.
I think if you keep in the refrigerator, it'll keep for a while though.
Yeah, I think so. And then you'd already have it made up next time you want to make dumplings. So I bet this would be good as a crust, like on chicken pot pie or something,
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
it? It'd be delicious. Yeah. How much you got?
Probably that full glass.
Okay.
So you're gonna make some final adjustments here?
Right, we're heating up our broth here, or our stock here, but we're gonna add some water because this is not deep enough to really get those dumplings cooked the way we want them. So I mean, that's probably about 2 cups of water. It's just kind of eyeballing it.
Yeah.
We're gonna add that to it, and then the secret ingredient I always add is this chicken stock, this powdered chicken bouillon. Even though this is beef, it's not gonna make a difference. I mean, it's still gonna add the flavor that we want. It just chicken fat instead of beef fat. I think they make a beef version of this if you want to do that instead. I just use the same one for everything, so. And we'll just do this, we'll do probably three good heaping teaspoons full of it. So after that, I'm gonna give this a second to cook, and then I'm gonna make the final adjustments on the seasoning and see whether it needs like more salt or pepper. And of course, that's gonna be the taste, so it's whatever you prefer, however you prefer it. So the dough, we got it all mixed up, and we're gonna let that sit for a second just to set up a little bit, and then move it back.
All right, the dumpling drop is about to start, right?
So we got
You
our
want to
stock.
see how it's pouring
It
down?
is a rolling boil, so this is the way we want it. Our biscuit dough's just had a little bit of time to set up. It's gonna be a little bit tacky, but that's all right. It's just, and these are drop dumplings, so we don't even have to roll it out and cut them out or anything like that. I've done that before too, and it works fine, but this works just as well. So we're just gonna like roll them into little balls and just drop them in. The important thing to do is, I've seen a lot of people like try to make these ahead of time and then drop them all at the same time. It doesn't work. They'll stick together and turn into a giant biscuit on top. So that's not what you want.
So you have to let them set up.
Yeah, you have to drop them one at a time and make sure there's a little bit of space between them so they don't stick together.
How long did y'all let that set up
Oh, no.
after you mixed it up?
Just,
5 minutes?
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it was, the recipe's gonna be in the description box.
Right.
Yeah.
This is quite a bit. We made quite a bit of dumplings here.
That's all right.
You might
If
want, we
don't
can
use-
scale it back or
Freeze
scale
it.
it up.
Yeah. Well, they can have the recipe if they don't want to,
Absolutely.
you know, if they don't want to use this many, so. Ooh,
But
they're
we
holding.
can always just bake these and turn them into biscuits too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. They're holding together really well, Corey.
They are. And you want a wide pot like this. It's got a lot of surface area, not necessarily a deep pot, just so that they have room to float around and cook without sticking together.
All right, we're just gonna keep dropping dumplings, and how long we're gonna cook them, Corey?
About 20 minutes. So the way you can tell, as you can see, when you first drop them there, they fluff up and they float. When the dumplings are ready, they'll turn a little translucent and they'll start to sink. And that's when you know they're cooked. Then we're gonna just add our vegetables and our beef, and that's really just to reheat that and kind of marry all those flavors together.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
All right,
We're ready.
Corey's gonna keep dropping, and when they get ready and we start to put our veggies and our meat back in, we'll come back with you. Then we're gonna give you a taste test.
Are you testing, Grandmama?
Yeah, turn the light on.
Okay.
Y'all, I got some.
Is that a dumpling?
So dumplings are just about cooked. They've gotten to the point where they're turning translucent and they're starting to sink. It only took about 15 minutes on a good boil. We kept it covered. If you start to lose too much volume, like the water's boiling off, you can add more water because it's not going to hurt it. You just want to add it slowly so you don't drop the water temperature too much, and then it stops cooking basically. So now we're going to add all of our vegetables and our carrots and our beef back in, and then we're just going to let all of those flavors kind of marry together. And
How long? 10 minutes?
once we put all the ingredients back in, we're really just reheating everything and kind of blending those
Okay.
flavors. So about 10 or 15 minutes. and
Okay.
We should be fine after that. So.
I want y'all to look at this. Look at all that flavor going in. Oh my goodness. Wow.
And all of this is darker than chicken dumplings because the beef
yeah.
colors it, and the vegetables cover it too. But
I get
man,
excited over good food, y'all. And this is good food. All right. Give us about 10 minutes and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna all taste it for you.
All right. We've been waiting for the taste test. I want y'all to look at that.
Y'all
So we
look.
had so much biscuit dough that we actually made some biscuits out of the rest of the dough. So
Oh, those are.
we'll adjust the recipe in the description so that we don't end up with this much, unless you just want to have extra biscuits on the side as well. Then you can use the 3 cups of flour, but we'll adjust it down in the
This
description.
tastes more like a roll than a biscuit. Oh,
I like
it's
it better than a regular biscuit, and I love regular biscuits.
delicious.
That is.
They're really fluffy. So.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right.
All right.
Ooh.
Now, there you can see the beef dumplings.
Y'all look at there. I want another dumpling for you. Y'all look at that. Now, let me tell you, if you've never had beef dumplings
With the vegetables.
with the vegetables, and this is absolutely delicious. Because I've been tasting y'all. I want some of the dumpling. Y'all.
Corey, you're going to freeze the biscuits for future after we leave, aren't you? Or have you already said
Probably
that?
will. I'm going to eat them all.
I told him he could freeze them and then put them in the air fryer to heat them up. But he may eat them all.
They are good.
Okay, baby. I done blowed
All
mine.
right. All right. Now, y'all got to do your taste test so I can get into my bowl. I won't do it on camera this time, but
Y'all,
that's got to be good. I can look at Grandmama's face and tell her good.
that's one of the best dumplings I've ever had. Oh my goodness, Corey. Corey's used to cooking for 14 people at the Firehouse.
It's kind of hard to scale these recipes down. That's why we end up with so many biscuits.
Yeah. He forgot it was just me and him and Granddaddy, but that's all right, because you know what? He'll have some left over when we're gone. And Corey, this is the first time Corey's ever made this.
That's the first time you've ever tasted of it, too.
Oh, yeah.
We were sort of hesitant yesterday when we were discussing this meal with Corey and doing it with beef. But man,
You like it? It's better than chicken, isn't it? To me, it's a lot more flavorful than chicken.
Very hearty.
you're going to try it out on the fire department now, aren't you, son?
They're definitely getting this.
They begged him to make his chicken and dumplings, and I told him earlier, I said, when they tasted this, they gonna want this, not chicken and dumplings. Y'all,
We really can use your subscriptions if you like the video.
yes, please share.
Share and subscribe. That's the way we know we're giving you something that's a good product, and we want to give you healthy food, glycemic load food for diabetics, no gluten food. Like this dish was cooked especially for
Completely gluten-free.
gluten-free people, because we have a lot of fans that are gluten-free. So this is not low carb, it's gluten-free.
Y'all are going to love this. All right, food feeds the family, family feeds the heart, God feeds the soul. Make you some Firehouse beef and dumplings. See y'all next time from Georgia.
Thank you, Corey.
You're welcome. Thank you.